Hey everyone, it's Kyle here doing another typical driving video log. It's been a little while since I've done one of these things. I know I've been promising them for a long time now, but recently, if any of you follow my workout log over on bodybuilding.com, I think you would have realised one of the most recent posts I put up there is that I'm going to have to take a little bit of time off from logging absolutely everything that I'm doing. I'll still be logging in my own sort of logbook and everything like that to track my own progress. But in terms of keeping active on the forums and answering emails and everything, that's going to have to take a little bit of a back seat. Unfortunately, there's been some things. I'm not going to get into it just because I'm not one to complain too much about it. But there's been some things that have happened outside of my control that requires most of my attention right now. And what it's made me realise more than anything is I think the important note is that everything in life that ends up hitting you, whether it's hard or whether it's soft, will always make an impact. Everything will leave some sort of bruise, and the swelling is really just dependent though on how you treat it. So if something hits you hard and you don't want it to swell up and you want it to recover quickly, you've just got to think about a way that you can take advantage of the quickest healing process possible. Now for me, what I've found is making a decision about what you're going to do in your life in response to different aspects that are out of your control. It's one of the hardest things that you can come by. Many people, they'll get hit with something full on, dead on, doesn't matter what it is, but straight away they go into this overdrive mode of, what I've heard has been told deer in the headlights syndrome. Now what that is pretty much is all this stuff that suddenly seems to come falling down and crashing around them, and next thing you know, there's things coming left, right and centre all at them, and they're just stuck zooming into this one sort of spiralling crevice that seems to be what their life is coming to. And what I've found recently by just sort of changing my attitude is that when these things happen that are out of your control, if you can make a decision to get out of it and just to do something about it, and I know that sounds simple, but I guarantee that you'll just feel better about it no matter what. Now, where people struggle and why it sounds difficult is anyone can make a decision to actually do something about it, but people struggle with actually trying to figure out how they're going to go about doing something. Okay, I've made the decision, I'm not going to let this affect me. Okay, how am I going to get away from it? I don't know. What I've come to realize is you don't need to focus on the hows. You don't need to focus on the whys. It doesn't really matter why something's happening to you. It doesn't matter how bad your situation is compared to someone else's, because someone else's is always going to be worse than what you think yours is. What matters is that you consciously make that decision and you say, right, these things are happening to me right now, but I know where I want to go. I know where I want to be. And no matter what happens in terms of stopping me, in terms of coming as a roadblock in my path, it doesn't matter how I'm going to get around it. What matters is that I know I will. And I think a lot of people just need to realise that it doesn't matter the simple little steps of trying to figure out how to weave and turn your ways around these different little roadblocks and obstacles that will come along that sort of disturb your journey. And at the end of the day, it's all about getting from point A to point B. And granted, the quickest way to get there is through a straight line, but sometimes that's always not feasible. So what I want to encourage everyone to do, if I can, and if this makes sense at all, is to just make a decision to change. And I know you've probably heard that a lot, but making the decision is something that I think a lot of people are truly scared of. If you ask yourself, if there's one thing in your life that you really want to achieve, that one thing that you've been thinking of, that one path that you want to take, but you keep sort of umming and ahhing about it. It sounds good sometimes, but then you think, I don't know how I'm going to do that. How am I going to afford this? Oh, what if this happens? So what? Who cares about the what ifs? Who cares if you can't afford it now? Who cares if it doesn't seem, feasible at this stage? What I find is really important in life and in this whole decision-making process is that the first idea that pops in your head, if it seems good and if it makes you feel good, and if it sounds like a good idea to you at the time, then just roll with it. Don't worry about the consequences. Don't worry about how justified it sounds. You know, I think a lot about some of the decisions that I've made in the past. And to be honest, some of the most thought out plans that I've put myself through have ended up doing absolutely nothing for me. In saying that, some of the things that I've really just gone by intuition on, something that felt good at the time, so I did it, have worked out some of the most beneficial. So in closing on that, I'm going to keep this nice and short because I'm nearly at work right now, but in closing, I just want to say that the sooner anyone can make a decision about where they want to go and what they want to do without worrying about any consequences, without overthinking, overanalyzing, getting stuck in that whole deer in the headlight syndrome that I mentioned, the sooner you can get yourself into thinking, right, I know what I want. I don't know how I'm going to get there. It doesn't matter what comes along my way though. Nothing's going to stop me from getting from point A to point B. And I know that the path may be windy. I know that my sight may change along the way of where I actually want to go. And maybe once I get there, what do I want to do? Think about that when you get there. And don't think too far into the future. Don't think about the what ifs, the whens and the whys and the hows. Forget about any consequences that could happen, either positive or negative. Just find where you want to go. Make that decision to go there and just do it.